Hey everybody, it's Jen with Retiree Wannabes, and it is the end of the month. So we have been traveling full time for about a month plus about 4 or 5 days. So we've been saving our receipts and put together our total costs for one full calendar month. So if you're wondering how we're doing this, or if you're thinking about doing this yourself, stay tuned. So just a few basics that will greatly affect how our costs went. Our starting point on December 1st was Hot Springs, Arkansas, and our ending point is Quartzsite, Arizona. The average high temperatures we experienced were about 52 degrees, so that would greatly affect our heating costs. And our average stay length at each location is roughly 2 to 3 nights. So our total cost for campsites throughout the month is $604. This is actually half of what we budgeted the cost to be. I think mostly because we were expecting to pay closer to $35 a night at each campsite. And we were definitely not going to be able to boondock on BLM land until we got closer out to Arizona. And we weren't sure if we were going to do that towards the end of December or not. Santa Fe was our highest priced per night at $50 for the 3 nights we stayed. I would say our better average for paid night stays was closer to about 22 to 24 per night, most of that being the Texas State Park system, which we were very happy with. We did end up boondocking a few nights in Sedona, a night in Flagstaff, a night in the Grand Canyon, and a few nights in Quartzsite. Gasoline is one of those costs that was going to be a wild card for us. We knew that we were going to be traveling at a fast pace, so our gas costs are going to be a lot higher than someone who's staying somewhere a month at a time. We also weren't sure what our mileage per gallon is going to be on the truck when pulling the trailer fully loaded with the motorcycle, and that turned out to be about 8. So our gasoline costs for the month were $1,011. That is actually under our budgeted $1,200 a month. So we did come in under budget, even though that's a big number for gasoline. Propane costs. So again, this was a variable that we were having trouble budgeting. We weren't sure what we were going to be looking at there. And we also experienced colder temperatures than we had hoped to experience, with our average temp around 52 degrees, and that's the high every day. So keep in mind, some of our nights were in the 20s. I think 28 degrees was probably our coldest night that we had. So we actually only filled 2 20-pound tanks and a couple small 1-pounders for a portable grill. Laundry was fairly easy to budget, even though costs range a little bit at each laundromat. Nothing too substantial. We've seen prices per load between $1.75 all the way up to maybe $2.25 a load. Grocery was over budget for us. We usually at home may spend $400 a month. This includes personal care as well, such as soap and cleaning supplies, shampoo, deodorant. Most of the reason that we're over is that we are cooking more. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner versus during the work week grabbing stuff on the go. Another huge contributing factor would be our craft beer issue. There's so many different breweries on the road, and as we go and try new things, we find them in the store and grab a 6-pack to take to our next destination. So hopefully we can tighten up on this budget a little bit next month and bring that down just a little bit. That leads us right into restaurant and bar costs. So this was also slightly over the budget we set for ourselves. Nothing super crazy, but we do need to tighten up on that next month and really choose wisely. We've been trying to pick one specific place that we want to eat at each destination with a purpose and not just stop out of convenience. So we need to tighten up on that a little bit. And there have been times that we've stopped for coffee and it ended up being $13 coffees. There's also been times on travel days when we forgot to pack something for lunch or pre-make sandwiches, and we went ahead and stopped and grabbed fast food. Not often, but a few occasions, and all those little things do add up. And it was an expense that really wasn't that important to us as maybe a destination brewery or a destination restaurant that's, well known in that specific area. So got to keep a better eye on that next month, and I'm sure that's completely doable for us to bring that number down as well. Membership costs. All of these membership costs were planned for us, but I wanted to include them since they're not so much variable, but things that if you are planning to get on the road, you may not have thought of, and wanted to throw these out here. The first one is the Good Sam membership. That I believe was $50, and that gets you discounts at RV parks all over the country. The second is Harvest Host. We have not used this yet, but for $50 it gets you membership, and you are able to camp at various different vineyards, distilleries, museums, and farms all over the country. The Texas State Park Pass is $70 annually, and that covers your day use entrance to all the Texas state parks. They all do have, not all of them, but most of them have entry fees. We saw that they ranged a little bit, but for the most part, if you're planning to stay at a handful of Texas state parks, the pass is definitely worth it. I think ours has already paid for itself, and that was only doing northern Texas, and we are still going back through the southern half of Texas. So that by far will definitely pay for itself, and we've really liked all of their RV parks quite a bit. They have space, they're well run. We've been happy. And our final membership that we paid for was the America the Beautiful Pass. This is the pass that covers your entrance into all the national parks and national monuments. We have found that there are a couple that do not require this, but for the most part, all the larger national parks will require an entrance fee, and this will cover you there. We also found in Sedona, apparently, that your America the Beautiful Pass will also cover entrance and parking fees that are required with a Red Rocks Pass. It sounds as if the America the Beautiful Pass will work in place of that as well. So there have been several places that we've used this America the Beautiful Pass, and it has already paid for itself, and we're less than halfway into our trip. Admission costs and entertainment mostly calculate up to a couple museums that we've gone through, and the majority of that is actually the sticker decals that we've been collecting to put on the door of the camper. So that's what that consists of. It might be more for other people if they're doing a lot more sightseeing, a lot more museums. We're trying to keep that at a minimum and choose things that are very specific to our interests because of the admission costs. Okay, so those were the more variable costs that were hard for us to predict ahead of time. However, there are plenty of other costs that are more fixed costs that you probably know before you get on the road, and that we had a better idea of before we got on the road, but it's just things to consider. So the payment for the tow vehicle, which would be our truck, the payment for our travel trailer, those are all monthly set prices. The cost of any storage unit that you may have, and then tolls and parking costs usually are minimal in our case. Truck and RV maintenance would be a big cost that we have set money aside for. We actually just had an issue in Flagstaff, Scottsdale area that cost about $1,600 after warranty covered a portion of it. Insurance costs, both health insurance costs and RV and car insurance costs. Another cost you may want to consider is the storage items that you may have in storage, which is covered under a renter's policy for us. And pet costs. We have been to the vet once on this trip. It probably won't be the last. So those are things to also build into our budget as well. So my goal is to do this at the end of every month to see where we're at month to month. I think it will definitely vary as we boondock more or stay in RV parks more. And so it'll be interesting to look at that every month and see how this goes. If there are any particular costs that I didn't talk about, definitely comment below and I can definitely touch on that next month with our January figures. And if you are a full-time RVer, I would love to hear from you about what your most unexpected costs were as you got started. That would be great to hear. As always, we'd love you to hit like on the video and subscribe so that you can stay tuned on our journey. I still have a video to put together for Sedona and Grand Canyon, so sorry that is so behind, and we'll keep you posted as we head into Joshua Tree area in California. So stay tuned and we appreciate you watching.